Hey everyone, welcome. It is Desiree, and we are going to have fun with the Spellbinders Card Kit of the month for November, and it is called Wonderful Things. There are some really great images in this. So let's go through the contents of your kit once you receive it. So first up, you will get your card that will list out what's included in your kit, what you should have received, and then also gives you some inspiration. You get your 8 card bases that are standard A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. They are already scored and folded for you, and also 8 envelopes. You will get your block of double-sided foam squares, and the entire block can be used, and a roll of double-sided tape. You will get 5 colors of cardstock that are already cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so you will have 4 panels of each color. Your pattern paper, now remember, this is paper. This is not cardstock, so it is a lightweight pattern paper, but it is perfect for layering. And you can also fussy cut, die cut just as well as you can with cardstock. So some beautiful images. And again, when we look at these colors, we kind of, okay, but all the colors will go. That's the beauty of a kit. It doesn't matter what you choose to create with. Everything is made to coordinate. A pack of confetti sequins that are like in a coffee color. Some puffy sentiments and embellishment stickers. You have your chipboard, or they are more puffy stickers. Here are your chipboard stickers as well to embellish the front of your card. Both all come with great sentiments that are already set. And my favorite, the die cuts. For those of you that have been here, you know I love to collage. I love die cuts, and just layer and have fun with the images and mix and matching the different textures and levels. These images are absolutely beautiful. They have a watercolor feel, at least for me. It was a watercolor type feel. We've got feathers and tents and boots and flowers and animals, books, you name it, we've got it going on here. And to me, it does have a vintage vibe to it, so that made it even more fun. So for our first card, we're going to have a mat that is cut 4 by 5 1/4, and then we have a pattern paper that is slightly smaller, so 3 3/4 by 5, and then we have our other mats coming in. Now, guys, I know I do not measure once I get past the first layer. Again, I'm collaging. I'm even collaging with the mats. I'm collaging with the pattern paper and everything else. I just don't take notice what my pieces are cut down to. For me, that's the beauty of creating, just having fun and layering these pieces. Fell in love with that little piece of wood with the chair in the front, adding the rainbow from the back, the sign in back of that, a floral image, and then finally coming in with a couple of sentiments scattered across. And even though they're stickers, I do 99% of the time I'm adding a little bit of glue just to make sure that they will stay. I am a liquid glue person when it comes to card making or paper crafting. I think I get a better bond. If I do use some double-sided tape, I 9 out of 10 will add glue to that as well. So that's why you don't see me using the double-sided tape too much, but on some areas I am using that. And it works just fine. It is very sticky. They're double-sided tape. And I haven't had a card come apart yet when I use that. So just having fun layering, coming in with some of the double-sided foam squares to add some dimension. And yes, when you add dimension to your card, you do have the possibility of adding more postage. So I would just check with your local postage. I don't know rates or anything like that. That's something that you would be able to research on your own. I'm going to use some of the enamel dots that are included, and I put a heart right up into the center. So again, just starting with our mats with the solid cardstock, and then adding some pattern paper to that, applying that to our card base, and then having another pattern paper on top of a solid piece of cardstock. We're going to set that down, and for me, it doesn't have to be centered. So I've set that down just a little bit lower, and now we're just going to add all of our pieces. So I've got some books, I've got a birdhouse there, so I put the bird on top. I have a fox sitting on top of the books. We're going to add a cluster of florals off of the birdhouse, and then a bird nest on the other side. Again, propping that up. Again, adding some dimension. And then a couple sentiments, all spread throughout. So like I was saying before, kits are wonderful, and I do usually make mention of this through whenever I am working with a kit. Kits are wonderful to start out if you're curious about a craft. You usually get all of your elements there, and remember, all of the elements are made to coordinate. So in this case, for a card kit, you're getting pattern paper, you're getting embellishments, you're getting die cut pieces, you're getting solid cardstock. All of these colors and images are made to coordinate with each other. So it is going to be extremely rare, 99.99999% rare, that you're going to choose something that's just not going to look like. You saw in the first card, I went with harsh, dark backgrounds, but the pattern paper was soft. The images were soft, but they had a rustic feel to them. Again, that is the beauty of a card kit. It's a way to get you introduced to a new craft. But just know, they are designed to coordinate, which I think is great. It kind of takes off that stress of thinking when it comes to putting the item together. In many cases, you don't even have to have a cutter. Scissors, yes, scissors work just as fine, but let's tear our paper. I love tearing paper. Tearing paper for me is like therapy, because you get these beautiful edges, and they're harsh. And they just make something stand out a little bit more, which is what I did here with this card. Here we're going to go with a little bit darker of a motif. So I've got this dark blue background with the watercolor floral panel, and it's got some dark blue in that as well. So it's not as soft and pastel as usual a floral is. I'm going to layer up some pattern paper with some plain cardstock, and then just layer our images there. The band isn't as wide as the die cuts that we're adding, but because we have that band there, it breaks the images. So the eye is going to be directed to the die cuts and will not get lost in the busyness of the pattern paper behind it. That's the beauty of a mat and a border that you would create when it comes to that solid cardstock. It just provides a small enough break so that what you're putting on there will be seen by the eyes. For this here, we're just going to use the pattern paper, put that down onto our card base, and then we have more pattern papers that I'm just going to continue to layer up using the one edge, placing the glue, not taking it to the torn edge that I have, because I'll be flipping those sides up, meaning crumpling them. Just taking my hands, roughing it up. That adds beautiful texture and dimension without adding too much dimension. Couldn't get enough of tearing paper, so I tore the bottom of that piece, and we're going to use double-sided foam squares to prop this up so that it can go over and not flatten out the other torn pages as well. They will hold their shape. Going to add our images right on top of that piece and underneath, since it is propped up, and just having fun creating those collages. And I'm okay with these pieces coming off of that base panel that we've created. I think that just adds some interest for them. I'm going to pop in that coffee cup right in behind there, because yes, gotta have the coffee there. And we'll add our sentiment down onto the bottom. And again, propping it up so that it doesn't flatten out those torn areas that we have. For our last card, we're going to create our mats and get those set down onto our card base. And then I took one of the pieces of pattern paper and we're going to fussy cut. So pattern papers are great to add and to fussy cut images out to give your own die cut pieces. You can get that in no time. So I'm just not being too careful about this, just having fun going around these edges, cutting out those pieces. And then I'm going to take the side of the blade on my scissors. Be very careful when you do this, because when you have a pair of scissors for paper, it is extremely sharp. And I'm just going to rough along that edge just a little bit, not much, because again, this is very thin paper. So it's just going to, it would just tear in half if I put a lot of pressure. So just adding a little bit, but again, be careful. If your kids are doing this with you, please adults, that's something that you should do. Just wanted to make that disclaimer. And then we're simply going to add one of the chipboard sentiments, and we're going to add that to the center down onto the bottom. And then a few of our enamel hearts and dots along our card. So I hope you enjoyed our 8 cards that we created featuring the Spellbinders Card Kit of the month for November, called Wonderful Things. And here I've slowed down so that you can see each of the cards and all of the details that we added to them. As always, I will have the card kit of the month listed down below, along with all of the other kits of the month, club kits of the month that they have available, and the bundles that they've created. So they do, Spellbinder does a great job when it comes to all of their kits. And what I think is great is they all merge together. They can all be combined. So you don't have to worry if you go with one of those bundles that one of those are not going to match. Everything now coordinates, which I think is absolutely terrific. I'll also have their gallery so that you can be inspired by so many others. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. I'd love to have you here. Make sure you ring the bell so that you're notified when the next video is available for you to watch. Thank you so much for those of you that have already subscribed, that have been here from the beginning. For those of you that just stopped by today, I am truly grateful and appreciative. Everyone, enjoy the process in creating your art. I hope I inspired you to either give something new a try or to dig further in your stash and see what you can create with what you already have. That's the goal. That's what I aim to do. But remember what's mostly important for me. Always, guys, be creative, and I will talk to you in the next one. Till then.